Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. How to be happy? That's the topic we have this morning. Because happiness is the most important thing in our life. Really, the only important thing in our life is happiness. Because all that we want is happiness. It looks like we want many things, like more income, promotion, nice car and house, maybe some position of authority, some recognition. So thus we appear to desire wealth, name, fame, recognition, power. So many desires we have. In the Vedic terms, all those desires can be classified as dharma, artha, kama. Artha means money. It includes wealth, name, fame, recognition, power, all of that is including artha, purushartha. So it's one human end. They say there are 4 human ends: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Of that, the human end called artha consists of this wealth, name, fame, all the worldly achievements can all be included in artha. A natural desire for those, natural fascination we have for wealth and name and fame. For one thing, because we find the whole world pursuing them, chasing them, we also find that the world recognizes, values, respects people who are wealthy, famous and powerful. So as we grow in this society, naturally we also grow the values of wealth, fame, power, naturally. And usually we see accomplishments of these as a sign of success. So in this world, who is a successful person? One who is wealthy, famous, powerful. He is a successful person. We also want to be successful. So basically, success is a value for us. And since success is equated to wealth, or power, or fame, therefore, those things, wealth, etc., become valuable to us because basically success is valuable. So there are so many such valuable things in our life and our mind naturally desires them. Other is called kama. Other purushartha, the human end is called kama. Kama means pleasure, gratification. So sense gratification, emotional gratification, all of this is called kama, intellectual gratification. So sense gratification occurs when we are able to experience the pleasurable objects For the organs of perception, the ears, when we listen to pleasant music, eyes, when we see the beautiful forms and colors, the palate, when we enjoy delicious taste. This is the sense gratification. And there is a natural urge for having that gratification. Emotionally also we want to be happy, to have a loving company. We want love. Intellectually also we want to be happy, to know new things, to see new things. So this is called kama. Gratification at the level of senses, gratification at the level of emotion, gratification at the level of intellect can be called kama. Gratification at the level of ego called artha. So these are our natural desires. And we seek constantly those objects and things and people who we feel are the means of fulfilling these desires, who are the means of giving up this gratification. The next question is, are these things important for their own sake? This third also we should mention dharma. People, when they recognize the limitations of happiness available in this world, then they desire the happiness in other world like heaven, called divine happiness. Supposedly in the heaven there are divine objects, enhanced level of happiness, and happiness extending over a long period of time. So then there is also a desire for dharma or swarga or heaven. So dharma, artha, kama. These are considered to be the human ends. The ends, the goals that a human being desires. They go purushartha. Purushehi arthyate. So those which are sought or desired by human beings. The effort to acquire them also is called purushartha. Meaning the end is called purushartha, and the means of the effort also is called purushartha. Then purushartha means self-effort. So this is what everybody desires and everybody is working for, and this is human life. What is life? Life is nothing but a constant effort to pursue these goals. Why do you pursue those goals? For the sake of success. Why do you want success? Because we feel happy when there is success. Thus we can see that all these human ends have really one purpose in mind, and that is to be successful, that is to be happy. Now I use two words, success and happiness, as though they are synonyms. But usually we understand success as the fulfillment of desires and achievement of these external things such as wealth and fame and power. And happiness is something that takes place within ourselves. So it looks like these two things are different. But happiness and success are not different. We feel successful only when we feel happy. Sometimes even when our desire is fulfilled. If for whatever reason we do not feel happy because of fulfillment of desire, we don't feel successful. So you will note that the idea of success always goes with the idea of happiness. I can feel successful only when I feel happy. Even though I may achieve something which I wanted, sometimes by the time that thing comes, I may have lost interest in that. In which case, achievement doesn't make me happy. Sometimes success comes at a great cost. As in the battle of Mahabharata, that Pandavas won the battle. But Yudhishthira, who is the eldest of Pandavas, was extremely sad, unhappy, in spite of winning the war, which is what you call success. But Yudhishthira is extremely unhappy on account of the death of all these near and dear ones, made him extremely sad, grieving. So winning the war does not become success if it doesn't bring about happiness. If Arjuna also had the possibility of winning this war in front of him, when he wins the war, he gets a kingdom. When he gets kingdom, then he gets all the means of happiness. Arjuna says, no, na kangshe vijayam Krishna, na cha rajyam sukhani cha. O Lord, na kangshe vijayam, I do not desire victory. Na cha rajyam, I do not desire kingdom. Sukhani cha, I do not even desire all those means of happiness. I don't desire them. Why is so? Because Arjuna is convinced that in spite of achieving the victory, the kingdom, the means of happiness, he realized that he was not going to be happy. He says to Lord Krishna that after killing these great souls such as Bhishma and Drona, Bhishma is his grandfather, Dronacharya is his guru. And after killing all these people, what use do we have all the pleasures which will be soaked in that blood? I don't see any point in achieving those happiness, those means of happiness. Meaning that it is possible that what is called success in conventional sense, which the world will call success, the person who achieved the success may not call it success. The world would think that Pandavas or Arjuna have won the war and they are successful. But they did not think it was success because it did not create that happiness within themselves. So success is not the mark of happiness. Happiness is the mark of success. You know that in the cup which is in my room, in your home, there is a statement there. Have you read that? Yeah. Success is not the mark of happiness. Happiness is the mark of success. So real success is when an endeavor creates in me happiness, not otherwise. Therefore, the true meaning of the word success also should be happiness. The whole world wants success, all right, and we also want success. But we feel successful only when that so-called success brings happiness. Even though the world may call me a successful person, I may not necessarily describe myself as a successful person. if that success does not make me happy. And people have conducted this kind of surveys. They interviewed some successful people and asked them how do they feel within themselves. They say, many of them say, we do not feel happy. Lot of stress. This chase for success has isolated us, and therefore we almost lost the connection with our own family and friends. We cannot enjoy those relationships anymore. I don't have that peace of mind. I cannot have proper rest at night. I'm not a happy person. Many of the people who are very successful reported that they were not happy. And they did not think that the success was really success. So understand that success also is success only when it generates happiness. In that case, if it is possible to be happy without the so-called success, if it is possible to be happy without that success, without having to gain wealth and power and fame, if you can be happy without those things, then perhaps there will be no need to chase those things. This is not so, because after all, pursuing the means of success are only for happiness. Thus, what we are seeking is nothing but happiness. Even though we may feel that we are seeking success, behind success also, what we are truly seeking is happiness. Therefore, the most valuable thing for the human being is happiness. Not name, not fame, not power, not wealth, not prosperity, not heaven, not anything. Those things are valuable not for their own sake, they are valuable only for the sake of happiness. Then what is this happiness? In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Sri Yajnavalkya says to his wife, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Hey Maitreyi, whatever is dear to me is dear for the sake of the self. Whatever is dear to me is dear for the sake of the self, for the sake of the happy self, the pleased self. Meaning that, what is happiness? Happiness is when I am pleased with myself. Happiness is when I am happy with myself. When can I be happy with something? I can be happy with something when that thing is acceptable to me. When I like that thing, when that thing satisfies my expectation, then I can be happy with something, isn't it? I can be happy with a person only when that person satisfies my expectations. I can be happy with a thing also when it satisfies my Swamiji, how about mango? Do you like it? Well, provided it satisfies my expectation. Do I like something? Provided I can't say I like a given thing. I like a given thing provided it satisfies my, not every mango would I like, and not every papaya would I like, and not every something would I like. I will let me see whether I like it or not. If it satisfies my expectation. So the criterion for my liking something is when that thing satisfies my expectation. Similarly, when would I like myself? I would like myself when I satisfy my own expectation of myself. Meaning that I cannot say that I am always happy with myself. More often than not, I am not happy with myself. And I am not happy when I am not happy with myself. I'm happy when I am happy with myself. So see, Yajnavalkya says that I like you only when you make me happy with myself. This is very interesting. Behind all the likes and desires, there is a like or desire of a happy self, a pleased self, an acceptable self. So when you come down here, the Swami is sitting on the chair, in all humility you sit on the floor, and Swamiji, and then, you praise the Swami, and Swami feels good. And I like you. Why do I like you? Because you make me comfortable with myself. You come and say certain things that are hurting me, insulting me, or remind me something which is embarrassing to me. Sometimes, people do that. They talk of something that I don't want to be bothered about. There are many things about myself that I do not want to remember. There are many childhood things, many things that when you're young, etc. Many things are gone. You don't want to be bothered, remember them, because they make you unhappy. So some people say, Swamiji, do you remember those days? Remember when you were 7-year-old and he reminds me of the thing that I want to forget. So there are many things about ourselves that we don't want to confront. There are many selves in ourselves that we do not want to confront. We want to forget them. We want to gloss over them. That's the reason why we keep ourselves busy. Because that uncomfortable self keeps on coming up again and again. Yesterday somebody said, Swamiji, forgive and forget. So I forgive all that, but I am not able to forget. I say, if you can't forget, that means you are not forgiven. But by the way, we can't forget things. What cannot? That person insulted me, hurt me. I can't forget that, Swami. You want to forget it, but you can't forget it. And suppose time goes and we engage ourselves with something and that is forgotten. If somebody comes and reminds you of that, you don't like it. You don't like that person who embarrasses you, who reminds you of something that you don't want to remember. Because you do not like that self which hurt somebody. There is a lot of guilt within me. In the past, I may have done many things of which I am not proud. I may have done things, said things and done things which were not right. When I could not follow my values, even though I have value for being a kind person, there have been times when I have been cruel and I have said things that have hurt people. I don't remember those things. So lots of guilt is there in me. I don't like that guilty self and therefore I avoid that. There may be times when I failed, I did not succeed. Swamiji, how many times did you appear for the driving test? I don't remember that. So what I am saying is there are many aspects of myself with which I am not happy. When I may be guilty, when I may be embarrassed, when I may have failed, when I was not successful. There are many things about me that I do not want to confront, that I just want to gloss over. What happens is, whenever I am sitting with myself, then those fellows come to my mind. Which fellows? The fellows that I don't like, they come up. That's the reason why I am not at all happy being myself. That's the reason why I usually keep myself busy. I keep my mind engaged in one activity or other so that I don't have to confront myself. Meaning that many of my activities are nothing but self-escape. They are all distractions for escaping from myself. Many of my activities are escape distractions, to escape from myself. So I go to Thailand and I go to Hawaii, I take cruise and I do all kinds of things. So I can engage my mind in something else so that I don't have to confront that self. I watch movies, I do activities, I have with friends, with our telephone, WhatsApp, this, that. I keep myself busy from morning. So right in the morning people are watching that. Somebody said, normally it is Karagre Vasate Lakshmi, Karamule Saraswati, Karamadhe tu Govinda, Prabhate Kardarshanam. Karagre WhatsApp, somebody said. Karamule network, internet, Karamadhe tu Facebook, something like that. Somehow escaping from myself. And the world obliges us by giving us more and more means of distraction. They know the human need of running away from oneself. And therefore, they provide you more and more distractions. What happens is, our mind being what it is, it gets bored with a given thing in a short time. So they oblige you further by coming up with new models every 6 months. A new cell phone, some new app, a new model of the car, new model of the computer, whatever. They keep giving us to help me escape from myself. Understand this. How the world is profiting at my cost by recognizing my vulnerability, my inner discomfort, and they oblige me by providing me this all escape distractions. Whether it's food, all of this is part of that. So when I say that what I'm searching for is happiness, it means that I'm searching for a comfortable self. I cannot be happy when I'm not comfortable with myself. I cannot be happy when I'm not accepting of myself. And therefore, self-comfort, self-acceptance can be called happiness. We should understand what happiness is first of all. No, Swamiji, I'm happy when I'm eating ice cream. I'm happy when I'm watching a movie. I'm happy when I listen to music. Yes, that is true. What happens at that time? At that time, that mind, which always keeps on, you see, I am the worst critic of myself. You know who is my greatest enemy? I am my greatest enemy. They say, with friends like you, we do not need enemies. So also with self like what I have, I don't need any enemies. Although I keep on blaming others because they are criticizing me, etc. But then, I am the first one who criticizes myself. There is a self in me which keeps on watching and keeps on passing judgment. As the Swami says, there is always a self-judgment. Because we are self-conscious beings. Therefore, we are always conscious of ourselves. Unfortunately, we just cannot escape that self-consciousness. Self is self-evident, and therefore we have no choice but to be aware of ourselves. I can shut off my eyes from the world. I can plug my ears from all the sounds. I can disconnect myself from everything. But I cannot disconnect myself from myself. I cannot escape myself. I'm always aware of myself. Yes, there is one state called the deep sleep state, when fortunately I am not even aware of myself. With every moment I am aware of myself, I am usually critical of myself and unhappy with myself, usually. Then we get tired, we get exhausted. Why do we get exhausted during the waking state? Because throughout the waking state, I always keep on passing judgment at my own self. Most of the time criticizing myself. Most of the time declaring myself is not acceptable. And therefore, most of the time being in conflict with myself. Usually, I am not at peace with myself. Understand this? Most of the time when I am aware of myself, I see a self that is not acceptable to me, and therefore I judge myself as not acceptable. I am not at peace with myself. I am not happy with myself. Therefore deep sleep becomes very important. God has given us that escape. Ishvara also gave us an escape. What is escape? The deep sleep is an escape. Because that time, I am not aware of myself. That is by Ishvara's scheme. That Bhagavan knows that this fellow needs some relief. He needs some respite. So sleep becomes a respite from a constant agony which I am going through with my mind. The agony arising from self non-acceptance, which arises from a self-judgment. So when you eat ice cream, something like that happens. You know, when you eat ice cream, of the brand that you like, not any ice cream. Ice cream also I like only this one and this flavor and that brand, etc. So you go to a particular shop and get that. When you have that, you are in ecstasy. What happens? You forget yourself. Happiness is because I forget that critical self, and therefore, at that time, because there is no criticism, there is no judgment at that moment, so I feel comfortable, I feel happy. Ice cream becomes instrumental in creating in me a state of mind when I am not criticizing myself, not rejecting myself, not judging myself. And therefore, at that moment, I am comfortable with myself. You can say, I am happy with myself. If ice cream cannot do that, I don't like that. Which ice cream do I like? That which enables me to be comfortable with myself, to forget myself. That forgetting that all the time, criticizing self, when that becomes quiet momentarily, whatever enables me to accomplish that, that becomes an object of my like. What I like is happiness, which is when I am comfortable with myself. And therefore, anything that makes me comfortable with myself also becomes an object of like. So when you talk to me nicely and praise me, I like you. Because you create in me a likable self. On the other hand, some old friends come, so when I go out for giving talk, sometimes old friends, you've forgotten them. So you remember I was in the school with you, maybe. Remember that you were sitting always in the front bench, and I was sitting behind you and doing this, that. Then he reminds me of those things which I am not happy, I am not comfortable. So some people have uncanny knack of making you uncomfortable. Some people have uncanny knack. They always talk in a certain way. So when this fellow comes home, his wife starts talking, he just becomes miserable because uncanny knack of somehow making him embarrassed, making him, reminding him of all the things that he failed to do, reminding all the things that he forgot to do, etc., and make him frustrated. Oh, why? Make her, why? Both ways. It can be both ways. Looking at the majority, I better, protect myself. So, what Vedanta teaches us? This is Vedanta. Because it's not enough to say that everybody wants to be happy. That's true. The desire for happiness is the desire behind all the desires, is the first thing to understand. That I like things or I love things not for their sake, but only when they become means of happiness. And therefore, it is for the happiness that I like things. And happiness is more important. Happiness is when I am happy with myself. Regardless of what you tell me, how much you praise me, sometimes I know he's talking for the sake of talking. He just wants to please me. And I dismiss those things. Meaning that even your attempts to make me happy may not make me happy. Poor people try to do that, Swami. How to make Swamiji, how to make him in good mood? They try all the time. Good food. Sometimes it just doesn't work because I'm just not happy with myself. You can understand in all the relationships what is happening, the dynamics. Each one is trying to do something. Even if you consciously want to make somebody happy, it doesn't always work. Important thing is, happiness is when I am happy with myself. The unpredictability is because a given thing that creates happiness within me may not create happiness next time. So we never know. But the same ice cream will again make me happy, or the same object will make... There is no way of knowing because my mind is very moody, my mind is very fanciful and that, but what it likes at one point may not like at other point. What it likes today may not like tomorrow. That's how the whole life goes. In search of an ideal situation where I'm comfortable with the situation. So not recognizing what happiness is, I've taken for granted that happiness comes from out there. It is a desirable object that made me happy. It is a given person that made me happy. A given situation that made me happy. It's a given achievement that made me happy. This is my conclusion. And therefore, all along I'm trying to secure that achievement, that person, that object, that place, that thing, because it is my conclusion that they make me happy. Not realizing that they are just instrumental in creating in me a self which is acceptable to me. You follow this? This is the most important thing to understand. All those things become valuable to me because basically I am the most valuable to me. The pleased self is the most valuable to me. The satisfactory self is most valuable to me, and therefore other things become valuable. Meaning that all the time I have to create within myself a pleased self, a satisfactory self, an acceptable self, through all these other pursuits. It is like trying to catch my ear in an awkward way rather than directly doing that. Meaning that Vedanta teaches us how to directly gain happiness rather than through all these torturous ways or contorted ways, uncertain ways. Because there is no certainty that a given thing will make me happy. Even though I expected, my expectation will not necessarily be fulfilled. So how to be happy? By discovering a happy self. By discovering a comfortable self. By an acceptable self. And when do I become acceptable to me? When do I like me? When I am able to satisfy my own expectation of myself. I have expectations of my own self. And when I am able to satisfy those expectations, then I am happy with myself. When I do not satisfy my own expectation of myself, I become unhappy with myself. And what do I expect from myself? When you say that, Swamiji, that I have expectation of myself, what do I want from myself? What kind of self do I want to see myself to be? That becomes very evident when we pose ourselves for a picture. As to what kind of self I like becomes evident when I pose myself for a picture. Swamiji, a picture. Whether the smile is real or unreal, but then I always display a smile on my face. Even though I may be angry within myself, I don't show that anger when I'm taking, you're taking my shot. Why? Because I do not like even a picture of an angry self, let alone angry self. I like only a picture of my pleased self, not an angry self. Meaning that I do not like myself when I am angry. I do not like myself when I am cruel. I do not like myself when I am unkind, uncharitable, greedy. In India, when you are driving, at every intersection when the car stops because of the traffic light, from somewhere, some little children, they appear begging. They wipe your windshield and they do something or the other, expecting something from you. And you just don't look at them as though you've not seen them. Or brush them aside, get away. All that boy needs is maybe, 50 paisa. At the most 1 rupee. I may have 1,000 rupees in my pocket. I just cannot part with it. There are times when I know that I should do something, I should help a person, but for whatever reason, I'm not able to help. Later on I regret. Kimaham sadhana karavam, kimaham papam karavam iti, Upanishad says. This person repents. This person regrets. Kimaham sadhana karavam. How come I failed to perform that virtuous action? How come I failed to do that? How come I failed to give that person something? How come I failed to help that person? I repent. I regret. Even that time I did not help because of the pressure inside. There are pressures within ourselves that prevent us. When the right time comes, then I don't help. Then my hand doesn't go into my pocket. Something within me prevents me. And under the influence of that, I fail to perform a good act of kindness. But then I regret. How come I failed to perform an act of kindness? How come I failed to perform an act of charity or generosity or helping? Kimaham sadhuna karam, kimaham papam karavamiti. Sadhuna karavam. How come I failed to perform a good action? I regret. which means that I like to see myself being a good person. I like to see myself a charitable person, not a greedy, chinsy person. Stingy. Although I am a stingy person when it comes to spending money, but I don't like that. I wish I could be generous. I'm not, because something within me prevents me. There is some pressure inside. It says, no, Swami, what will happen to you? What will happen? Some fear is there, insecurities. So my inner insecurities and fears prevent me from being a generous person. But I regret that. Kimaham papam karomiti. Other thing that I regret, how come I perform that papa? How come I perform the wrong action? So how come I failed to perform a good action? I regret that. And how come I perform that wrong action? That also I regret. When I got angry and insulted somebody, when I was cruel, when I punished somebody, when I retaliated, when I do those, that time I do it. That time my mind may get some kind of a demoniac satisfaction also of having insulted this, he deserves it. But later on, I regret. Kimaham papam akaramiti. How come I perform that papa? How come I perform that unrighteous action? It's ignoble action, unbecoming action. Which means that I like myself when I perform becoming action. Punya karma, virtuous action. So we should know when I like myself, when I dislike myself. Although I think that I like myself when I am well dressed. The reason why I am well dressed with all this exact, is the tilak and everything is the right size, and it's not just a coincidence. I spend time with it. To make sure that it is the right size and it looks so, yeah. That my clothes also are of a certain kind. All of these I am careful. Swami is not supposed to be bothered, but still. Because you think that you like when you are well dressed. You think that you like yourself when you are well ornamented. When your hair of a certain style, different kind of styles are there. And people have some patch here of one color, and the hair is standing in different ways are going. So I think that I like myself when I look like that, when I am dressed like that, when I talk in a certain way. I think that is what I like myself. That is when I like myself. That's all wrong. I like myself only when I am a beautiful person. Not beautiful body, but beautiful person. I equate beautiful body with beautiful person. That's a different thing. This is the equation in my mind that when I am handsome, then I am a good person. But there is no such equation. So we try to look beautiful. Nothing wrong in it. Do look beautiful. I have nothing wrong in it. But simply looking beautiful is not a measure of being happy. So a lot of things that we think are means of happiness are not really means of happiness, and we waste a lot of our time and energy in doing things which actually do not generate the kind of outcome that we want, because we do not know what outcome we are seeking. We are seeking one outcome, and that is to be comfortable with myself, happy with myself, accepting of myself, when I can live up to my own expectations of myself, meaning that I have expectations of myself. What are my expectations of myself? Just to be what I truly am. What is my expectation of myself? To be what I truly am. What do you mean, Swami, what I truly am? I'm always truly what I am. Apparently, now there are two eyes, the two I. What I truly am and what I truly am not. They split within myself, meaning that there are two selves as though a self which truly I am and a self that I truly am not. Vedanta explains because of ignorance. Because of being ignorant of the true nature of myself. That ignorance creates a misperception, a wrong perception, a wrong judgment about myself. So unfortunately we are born ignorant, meaning that we are born with ignorance. And what this ignorance does is it veils my true nature and also makes myself appear quite opposite of what I am. That's what ignorance does. Just as in the rope snake example, the ignorance of the rope veils the true nature of the object which is rope and creates an appearance of snake which is quite contrary to the rope. Similarly also, ignorance of myself veils the true nature of myself and creates that a perception of a self which is quite contrary to what I truly am. What am I truly? Vedanta says, Tattvamasi, that thou art. You are that. What is that? That which you are seeking to be. What am I seeking to be? A pleased self, a happy self. That's what you are. Vedanta says that happiness is your nature. It's not something to be accomplished, it's already what you already are. But what does ignorance do? Ignorance veils that nature of myself, which is happiness in nature, and creates that an appearance of an unhappy self. Limitlessness is my nature. This ignorance veils that limitlessness and creates there an appearance of a limited self. Happiness is my nature, but ignorance veils the happiness which is my nature and creates an appearance of an unhappy person. Why Swamiji? I don't know. Why is it so? Why should there be ignorance, Swami? Why should this happen? So now you see, Bhagavan has made us ignorant. And now he wants us to become free from ignorance. Why should we begin with ignorance to begin? Why should we begin with that? You get lost and then you search, for the... But why do I get lost? Why do you make me lose myself? I don't know. So there is something called ignorance. Why is it there? We have no explanation. Vedantins are very proud of being able to explain everything, but they also can explain this. What? Why is there ignorance? It's there. And therefore, I have a wrong perception of myself. That I am a limited being. I am a dependent being. I am a needy being. I am an incomplete being. That is how I perceive myself. And I take that to be the truth of myself, and then I don't like it. I do not like myself whenever I find myself needy. Because a needy person always is dependent. Needy person always is controlled, is dependent, is bound. Is it the mercy of those who fulfill his need? Is not so? A needy, desiring person is always at the mercy of those who will fulfill his need and desire. And therefore, I'm always begging from them, please fulfill my desire, please approve of me, please accept me, please love me. Always begging. Then they dictate their conditions, and conditionally they may like me or they may accept me if I satisfy their condition. That condition may change tomorrow, and I may have to work hard to satisfy the next condition. Just constantly struggling to try to satisfy the whims of an unpredictable world, which keeps on making demands from me to accept me. And I feel that I'm acceptable if the world accepts me. And I always bend over backwards to try to predict what the world wants and try to satisfy that one. You see how our life is? It's a game which can never, it's a losing game really. Because the world also has its own fancies and their needs keep on changing, their conditions keep on changing. Like those British who are ruling the Indians, and you can never make them happy. They come up with new rules and new things every time. There's new tax and new this, and make sure that you are miserable. So how to be happy? By discovering an acceptable self. Which is that? Which is truly myself. I don't have to become happy. Happiness is really my nature, because by nature I am a beautiful person and I am exactly what I want to see myself to be, that I already am. Then what is the obstacle? What comes in the way of my seeing myself or what I am? This false perception. And then I should remove that perception. That false perception I should remove. Then I have the true perception of myself. Then I'm happy. Today also, whenever I have true perception of myself, I'm happy. For that I need things outside to create a moment where I am, as Swami would say, a moment of happiness. When we enjoy a moment of happiness, what happens at that time? When in one early morning, the doorbell rang, opened the door, and my dear friend, after 25 years, he surprised me by appearing before me. I was just ecstatic. I hugged him. I was ecstatic. That moment of happiness, what happens? That is when I see myself an acceptable self, a likable self. Something happens within me. Although I may feel that the external phenomena is responsible for my happiness, in fact, what the external thing did to me is the cause of my happiness. That's the moment when I am with myself, when my true nature has become manifest, because momentarily the distorted perception has gone away. So how to become happy? By creating conditions when I have the right perception of myself, isn't it? Today also I am doing that. Through all my achievements in the world, I am only struggling to create those conditions when I am comfortable with myself, which is most unpredictable. And it's fleeting, not lasting. What I want is predictability in my life. What I want is a lasting solution. As the Swami would say, each one of us is in search of the infallible. What is infallible? Infallible is that which does not disappoint me, which is trustworthy, which is always, predictable, in which I am safe and secure. That's what I want. So I want, therefore, that happiness which is infallible, not just fleeting experiences of happiness. that infallible thing happens to be myself. The infallible that I am searching for is my own self. Infallible happiness, which comes and never goes. That's what I want. That's what is my nature is. And therefore, how to become happy? By doing whatever is necessary so that that self of mine, the infallible, becomes manifest. It is as though covered in a veil of ignorance, and I should make it manifest. That's the way to working on myself. The way to become happy is working on myself, not working on the world, which I am doing right now. Right now I am working on the world to make that world favorable to me, so that the world will accept me, approve of me, then I will be happy. In the process, I remain intact. Same desiring, seeking, helpless self. I continue to remain. What I need to do is to transform myself from a seeking, desiring, helpless creature into a self-confident, self-acceptable, self-reliable self. You can call it, they will call it they will call it self-confidence, so self-esteem. So, how to be happy is to recognize that happiness is my own self, and therefore it is not that I have to do something out there in order to be happy. For being happy, I have to do something within myself by removing that ignorance. Ignorance is blocking. Ignorance is veiling. Is an obstacle to my experiencing my true self. So what my life should be is removal of ignorance. Vedanta says that life should not become the process of acquiring what you don't have. Life should become a process of getting rid of what you have. Life should not become a process of acquiring what I do not have, but life should become a process of getting rid of what I have. What do I have? The only thing that I can claim to be mine, if you look at the Swami, is ignorance. That's all. It's only my property. Swami used to say, there is one thing for which we don't have to work, and that is ignorance. So, one thing I can say is mine is ignorance. And that ignorance is what I have to get rid of. My life should become a process of shedding off ignorance. Today, the way I am conducting myself is ignorance is becoming even darker, more intense, understand? More I run out there, more I seek their favor, then my neediness grows, it doesn't go down, it doesn't decrease. My dependence, my neediness, my helplessness, they do not in fact go down, they always get enhanced. More I try to fulfill that neediness through those things, the neediness in fact becomes more intense. So today the way I am living my life is, I am only adding layers of ignorance. But then how can we expect to be happy? How can a human being expect to be happy when all he does is just to add to the layers of ignorance which veil his happiness further and further? So we need hard things, and ultimately these worldly things are not effective. And I need some hard things to forget myself, really. Forgetting how, because I can't confront myself. I need to forget myself, get away from myself. Now, outside world doesn't help me do it, then I do something else. Then you start first with tea, and then with coffee, and then with smoking, and then this, and drinking, and then drugs, whatever. People think of harder and harder things. Poor, it's a really sad situation. In India also it has become a fashion. To drink has become a fashion. Even in Gujarat, which is supposed to be a dry state. But they know where to get, and what brand you want, you can get it in about 45 minutes. That's what they say. The specific thing that you want. They pride themselves in, that's a very special kind of a company, and it's elite people, elite. Means what? More miserable. Because when you need that thing, that shows that you become more needy, more dependent, more miserable. It's not the sign of greater success, it's a sign of greater failure. Is it not so? When you have become dependent on those things. So shedding of ignorance. What does ignorance do? Ignorance creates a distorted perception of myself. Like a mirror. Just as a distorted mirror would create a distorted reflection of myself. Even though I am all right, my face is okay. But typically in Indian railways, we have those, in the bathroom we have mirrors. If they are there to begin with, anyway. Sometimes we find that the taps are not there, faucets are not there, things are just gone. Whatever can be unscrewed, is all unscrewed. But in case that mirror is there, more of it is a mirror which is a distorted mirror. We look at your face and it looks very funny. We laugh at ourselves. But suppose at midnight I had to go to bathroom and then I am not quite awake. And then I see myself and I get scared. What happened to me? Did I have a stroke or something? I see my face, twisted like that. Is it some kind of stroke? So I may think that something is... So it is a mirror that distorts my face. Even though I may be all right, I'm all right. But it's a mirror of my mind that distorts the reflection. And I always see myself as a distorted self. So in order for me to see myself truly as I am, I must try to change that mirror. Or I must try to transform that mirror from a distorted mirror to a straight mirror. Mirror cannot do problems. One is the dust on the surface of the mirror, which also comes in the way of seeing the reflection clearly. And secondly, some distortions in the mirror. A concave mirror, a convex mirror show very funny reflections. We need a straight mirror, a clean mirror. Meaning that we need a straight, clean mind, which is a mirror in which I constantly see myself and judge myself. I see myself in the mirror of the mind, and that's what I think I truly am, and that's why I judge myself. And then I reject or accept myself. So the way to do is to change that mirror of the mind. Make the mind like a mirror, which is plain, which is clean, which reflects the image as the image is. So ignorance creates distortions in the mirror of the mind, and therefore giving up ignorance means giving up the distortions of the mind. So that should be our project. So how do I become happy? When I see myself as I truly am. Where do I see? In the mirror of the mind. When do I see? When the mirror is straight and clean. So to be happy, what I need is to work with the mirror of the mind. So that should be my project. Meaning that my effort should be to create a mind, a mirror, which is straight, free from all distortions, free from all dust and impurities. What is this mind? But again Vedanta explains that the mind is made up of three gunas: sattva, rajas and tamas. Our mind is three dispositions: sattva, rajas and tamas. When the mind has predominantly sattvic disposition, then the mirror is very clean and straightforward. Thus when I see myself in a sattvic mind, I find myself a happy self, which is what I am. But what ignorance does is create rajas and tamas. Raga and dvesha, attachments and aversions are rajas and tamas. So rajas and tamas are the creation of ignorance. And therefore my mind, of which the nature is sattva, but because of ignorance, the rajas and tamas also have inadvertently entered my mind. In fact, now they have become very powerful and they rule my mind, and therefore that poor sattva hardly ever appears. Usually my mind is under the influence of rajas and tamas, raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. Or kama, krodha, lobha, lust, anger, greed, these are called the inner enemies. They call it Shad Ripavaha. Shad Ripavaha means what? The 6 inner enemies. What are they? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, then Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Kama means the tendency to indulge. Not simple desire, but the tendency to indulge. When I cannot control my desire. When desire in fact compels me to violate my boundaries, when the desire becomes so strong that it compels me to violate my boundaries, we call that kama. That kind of desire. Because when that desire is not fulfilled, then it results into krodha or anger. I become frustrated, I blame others, I blame myself, become angry, either at others or at myself. If desire gets satisfied, then what? No anger, but then what? I want more and more. That's then lobha, the greed is created. So either krodha or lobha, either anger or greed, both of them make me intoxicated. Called moha, intoxication. I do not see what is, I see what is not. Intoxicated people see things in their mind which are not the real world. So whenever I am overcome by anger or greed, then I see things not as they are. I see them to be quite distorted or different from what they are. Mada creates pride, Matsarya creates jealousy. So these 6 are called the inner enemies. And this is what ignorance does. And therefore, our life should become a process of removing this ignorance, meaning that winning over these enemies. So the mirror of mind progressively becomes sattvic. As sattva grows, so inner happiness grows, thank God. Then you don't have to wait for a day when it will become totally sattvic. Even if this little sattva comes, you get that much satisfaction. So it's a process of being happy, is process of progressively discovering inner and inner contentment and happiness. And that will culminate into what? Discovering total happiness. So this is how to be happy. We'll take a break here and we'll continue in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari